everyone. Welcome back to the podcast of my first season. My name is Greg. Today we have a very special guest. We have worked together before in Columbus Isle in 99-2000, but his first season was also in Columbus Isle. But in June of 1997, he was a Scuba G.O. He is from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Please, everyone, please help me welcome to the show, Jay, Scuba J. How are you, sir?
Hey, Greg. Good, man. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'd like you to tell me, because in your pre-interview, I don't really have a pre-interview, but we did speak before this and you said some very interesting things. So usually I ask people to take me back to where they were before they applied, but you kind of have an interesting backstory. If you could start maybe what age you were when I guess you started scuba, where you were living or where you lived in the past. You lived in Asia, correct, at one point?
Yeah. So I started diving when I was probably about 10 years old. And my family at the time was living in northern Sumatra, Aceh in Indonesia. My dad was working for Mobil Oil out there. They had a natural gas play in that region. And so we kind of grew up in an expat community. And one of my friend's dads was a diver, and we were living right on the beach. So he started teaching us in the pool. And then I think when I was 12, I got certified in Thailand. And yeah, I was kind of diving from a young age. And then after I got out of school, I'm trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I decided to go down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and become a dive instructor through their program. And from there, I kind of went to the Bahamas. And I got introduced to the club while I was in the Bahamas as a dive instructor for a different outfit on Harbour Island, which was at that time close to the Eleuthera Club Med property. And the GOs over there would sometimes come on the dive excursions that actually were run through Valentine's Dive Center, the place that I was working. So I got to meet GOs and GMs when they came on the diving excursions. And at one point, a buddy of mine and I decided that we were just going to sneak over there. And I think it was on the advice of GOs. We were sort of egged on to come across to the Eleuthera Island, we rented a car and drove down to the beach that Club Med was on. I think it was like the southern tip of Eleuthera. And we sort of drove down past the property, parked in the coconut trees and snuck on through the beach. And at that time, there were no bracelets or anything like that. So we legit just went right on the property and pretended to be GMs. And we ended up doing that several times. I'm pretty sure that the chief of village knew about it at that time. I think he was Greg Schneider. And I remember at one point I was actually over there at night during a beach party for his birthday. So pretty sure I met him. In any case, though, the GOs at Eleuthera talked me into applying at Club Med. And when I did, I left Harbour Island, went back to Calgary and called up the Miami office in Club Med. And I think they must have been hurting for scuba instructors because there was no interview. They're basically like, when's the soonest you can leave Calgary? And I think 4 days later, I was on a plane to Columbus Isle.
All right. Now you dropped a massive, interesting story, and then you skipped over it. So I'm going to take you right back to Indonesia. Okay.
Okay.
So, you were very nonchalant about growing up for a little bit in Indonesia and then getting certified for scuba in Thailand. So did you learn any Bahasa when you were in Indonesia?
Yeah, I did.
Really? Okay.
I think as a kid, I was pretty fluent in it, but I left there when I was about 14 years old. The American school, the international school that was run by the company only went to grade 8. So we had to go to boarding school in Canada after that. So yeah, I could Terima kasih, Selamat Jalan. Yeah, I know the basics still.
All right. Now, there's an interesting question because you do scuba. So you dive in Indonesia, you get certified in Thailand. Now, what was your first dive in a murky, cold lake with zero visibility in Canada, like after you dove, South China Sea? So what was that like, that first experience in a Canadian lake?
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah. Kind of ruined it for yourself there, buddy.
Yeah. And I won't do those dives anymore. I mean, I dive on the west coast of Canada in the ocean over there. It's cold, but it's still interesting. I don't dive anymore just for the sake of getting underwater and breathing. The closest dive spot to me here in Calgary is probably Lake Minnewanka. I've done it a couple of times and it's miserable. It's awful.
Okay.
It's a murky mountain lake. Yeah, it's terrible.
Okay. All right. So then you're working on Harbour Island. You sneak into the club in Eleuthera. So was Eleuthera as beautiful as everyone says it is?
Oh, it was awesome. It was gorgeous. The one drawback, and it was the same where I was in Harbour Island, that probably never made the brochures, but you can't, well, much like Columbus, you're at Columbus, you can't go on the beach at night. You get eaten alive. So that was the only thing. But other than that, yeah, pink sand beaches. It was quite the property. I was surprised when the club declined to rebuild it after the hurricane.
Yeah. A lot of people bemoan the loss of that village for sure. Of all the villages, I keep hearing that Eleuthera they love the most.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question I have for you then is, these G.O.s, when they were regaling you with stories of the club, did any of them, this was before days off, so did any of them mention the hours they were working, or that just didn't come up?
I'm not sure that came up, but I was sort of working those hours anyway. In the situation I was in Harbour Island, I only made money when I went diving, so I was willing to dive 7 days a week. And in a resort town, in a vacation destination, there are no Saturdays and Sundays, right? So I was working 7 days a week anyway.
Really?
That part of it didn't come as a huge surprise or shock to me.
But how did you manage? Because if those who don't scuba dive know, or if you're just starting scuba dive, you're extremely exhausted after one tank, let alone two in the afternoon. So does that fatigue, like when you're an instructor, does that just go away? Like you don't feel it anymore? Just from the fatigue from diving I'm talking about.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you do get used to it. I think physiologically you get used to it too. So it stops affecting you as much as when you first started. I mean, by the end, I don't really think that. I mean, if you did 4 dives in a day, you're probably tired, but 2 is typically what you'd end up like. I mean, you do the morning dives and maybe a single tank in the afternoon, but typically the way they organized it at Club Med anyway, they tried to be as safe as possible. If you did the morning dives, you weren't diving in the afternoon, or if you did if you were dive master in the morning, you'd be diving in the afternoon. So they switched it up. It wasn't too bad.
Okay. Now, did you know anything about Columbus Isle, where it was when they sent you there?
No, I had no idea, but I was very pleasantly surprised when I got there. It is still to this day the best diving I've ever done consistently in the world.
Did you see a hammerhead your first week there?
I saw a hammerhead on my first dive there, I believe.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. They had a tradition back then where your first dive, when you first got there, you could do a P dive, or what we call P dives. It stood for personal dive. So you could just go and dive on the boat and not have to worry about looking after anybody. And so I got to do that at a dive site. I'll always remember my first dive was at Great Cut in just before I think it's the Northwest Point. It was a phenomenal dive. And yeah, like within probably 5 minutes of my first dive there, I saw 6 hammerheads swim by.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Now, did you get any culture shock when you arrived? Were you settling in that first week? Do you remember? Was it rough? Was it a lot to take in?
It was super French. That's what I remember.
Yes. So if you arrived, when you did, and you arrived in the summer, right? Yeah, June. So yeah, that's your European influx there. How was your French back then?
It was terrible.
I know you could speak Bahasa, but you couldn't speak French.
I could not speak French. No, okay. It was a bit like, and it felt like I was in a tropical France. Like everybody spoke French. There was like, even the Canadians were all speaking French, and I'm a Western Canadian boy. So despite Canada being bilingual, very few of us are talented in that language. So it was tough at first, but I don't know, by the end, after about 10 years, I could stumble my way through a dinner conversation. But in the beginning, it was rough.
Okay. And now that culture shock, I guess, of Europeans, if you've never really been around them, and yeah, that would do it for sure. I had my own, even though I could speak French, I realized I never spoke French from France, and I couldn't understand French people talking. So I feel for you, really, I do.
Well, the funny thing is, though, I can understand a lot of French now, but I can't understand Quebecois French. Yes. Or at least it's much more difficult for me to understand, because there's an accent and it's a little bit faster, but I can actually understand French from France a little better.
Yeah. They're almost two totally different languages, even though we speak the French that they brought over, around the turn of the century. So that's what's ironic.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now we spoke about this, but we might have just missed each other, because I arrived very late to Columbus in 97, but in speaking and looking at photos, I don't think we actually crossed because I just come from Italy, but I do remember arriving very late. So do you recall how long you spent at Columbus your first season before you had to go?
My first season was like short. It was a shortened season. I think I did half a season, about 3 months from June to November. And then I went to Cancun from there. So my first season was pretty quick.
Okay. Now, did they ask you if you wanted to go to Cancun, or would you rather have stayed in Columbus?
No, you know what? I had heard a ton of stories about the chief of village at the time that was going to Cancun was in Turks, Kevin. And I'd heard stories about him and how awesome a chief he was. And you don't always get along with all of your managers. In my first season, I didn't super get along with my chief of village. So
this would be Kevin Batt you're talking about in Cancun? Yeah,
Kevin Batt was going from Turks to Cancun, and everybody said what a rock star he was and how much fun he was to work for. So that was sort of the impetus. And I was 21 years old, and I wanted to go to a singles village. So
yeah, as you do, right?
Yeah, as you do.
It's normal. But Columbus Isle, I will say, even though they sent me there 3 times, 2.5 years, it is the most beautiful. Once you've seen like that beach, you can't beat that beach, right?
Yeah, for sure. It ended up being my favorite club. And I spent more time in Columbus Isle than I did any other village, but
me too.
Yeah, it was an awesome place. But when you're 21 and you just get, and also I heard that Cancun was a little bit more American and less French, and I was kind of looking forward to that after a summer in Columbus Isle, speaking not one word of French.
Well, yeah. Speaking of the French influx, so what did you know what was going on July 14th? Do you have any Bastille Day memories? Like, did you know what everyone was doing? Because it must have been a big celebration, right?
Yeah, I figured it out, but and they're not shy to tell you what was going on and what Bastille Day was either. So,
okay, I had no idea. I didn't know. I had no idea my first season. No one told me anything.
Oh, really?
They just said, here, throw this. We're building a castle here. We're going to charge it. And flower bombs. No, I have no idea. No one explained it to me.
Yeah, and actually my first season, we did some of that with other chiefs. My first season, though, I don't remember that it was that huge of even in Columbus. I don't remember, the big storming of the castle. I definitely do remember that from other seasons later on, but I don't think it happened in my first season.
Oh yeah. Not every village will do the same thing. Yeah. Some are very elaborate. I had one guy on named Heo Kirby in Sandpiper. They built a massive Eiffel Tower, because he's a welder, like 3 stories almost, I think.
I think I've actually seen lots of pictures of that Eiffel Tower on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so was it any problem for you? I know you said you're used to the hours, but what's it like as working as a scuba instructor with no day off?
The no days off was okay. In the beginning, they wouldn't let us go to bed. That was the worst part.
Oh, so did you have to do any of the shows? Did the choreographer pounce on you when you got there, or were you immune to all that? Because you were only there a short time.
No. I ended up in a show right away. I think I ended up Aladdin. I think it was.
Okay.
That was my first show. I ended up in that right off the bat, and I hated it.
Were you a carpet bearer, or did you have to dance?
To be totally honest, I think I blocked it out. I don't remember what it was. I remember I carried a sword, and at one point I ran out into the audience, but that's all I remember really.
Okay, that's not so bad. You don't have to rehearse late at night for that, right?
Well, they still made you rehearse late at night for that. Yeah. So in any case, the having no days off is kind of secondary exhaustion to the fact that they made you stay up till 2 a.m. every day. Then you still had to get up at 7 to get on the boat. Right. So that was the hardest part.
Well, what did you think about Crazy Signs when you got there? Did you know what was going on?
I did not. Okay. Well, I knew what was going on. I knew that what they were because I had snuck on in Eleuthera.
Okay.
Yeah. Excuse me.
And still you wanted to work for Club Med even after seeing that?
Yeah. I think that there's trade-offs in every job path. I guess.
Yes.
You decide what you're willing to put up with. I think you and I are of the same mind. I hated Crazy Signs. I hated being in shows, but that's, I guess,
Well, I
the
like the shows.
trade-off.
I hated rehearsal. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay.
always said rehearsal should be in the daytime, and everyone laughed at me. No, this would be more efficient. Nah, you're too logical. But no, yeah, I really don't mind dancing. But yeah, when you're trying to make me memorize intricate dance steps at midnight after a long day, it's not going to happen, right?
Yeah. Well, hey, you might have had an effect then, because towards the end of my Club Med career, they started doing more and more rehearsals in the day.
I heard this. Yeah.
So maybe they were listening to you, Mr. Hanna.
Well, I did complain for 10 years. So
Yeah. Well, they are the French. The French are hard to convince.
Yeah.
So
anyone listening, you stand on Jay's and I shoulders. Okay. You're
welcome.
But
no. Yeah. The crazy signs in the shows. And, I mean, I got really good later, like in later seasons, as I got more experienced and savvy in the Club Med culture. I was quite adept at staying out of the shows altogether. You can't avoid the crazy signs, but staying out of the shows, I got pretty slippery at dealing with that too. One thing I learned in Cancun: if you just are terrible, they will let you quit. Okay. Like if you just cannot, like if you screw up every step all the time, they will let you go.
Yeah, because you're gonna hold the rehearsal back, Yeah. Okay, so you did like that. You kind of pretended whenever you saw the choreographer to trip or something, or
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Total sandbagger.
Nice. And eating meals, the guests like 3 times a day. Was that new for you, or were you doing that at Harbour Island already before?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that's one of the things that I loved about the club actually was that rule. But no, when I was at Harbour Island, we weren't eating every meal with the guests because we couldn't afford to unless they were paying for it. But in Club Med, yeah, and also as a dive instructor, you didn't really eat breakfast with the guests because we were up earlier than they were, except for the scuba diving guests. And lunch was sort of a quick one at the Sea Center or wherever the closest restaurant to the dive center was, because we had to kind of a quick turnaround to get the boats ready for the afternoon. So you really only had the one meal with the guests, and that was dinner time, which I enjoyed.
Did you have any? I know you probably did in later seasons at Columbus. Did you have any hurricanes? Well, those 3 months you were there.
In Columbus?
In 97. I know you most likely did other seasons there because I went through five hurricanes at Columbus. So
you know what? I didn't go through a single hurricane in my entire Club Med career.
Are you serious? So
I missed them all.
So you except sorry. Go ahead.
In 2000, was it 2003? 2000 Katrina, 2004 maybe. Katrina went over Columbus Isle while I was there. But at the time that Katrina went over Columbus Isle, it was only a tropical storm. It wasn't yet rated a hurricane. So then it went into the Gulf of Mexico, and then it spun up to a hurricane that was so effectively bad or took out New Orleans there. But it wasn't a hurricane when it went over. And we had some close calls, but I was never on at a Club Med property that got hit by a hurricane directly.
So you never had the pleasure of collapsing that very long dock at Columbus and then putting those planks behind the Sea Center. You never had to do that. That's what you're telling me?
I've broken down and rebuilt that dock about 1,000 times, but no, okay. we never had to drag them all behind the Sea Center. Okay. We just pile them up at the fitness center glass there, basically.
Before we move on to your other seasons, do you have any funny stories from your first season? Fish out of water, rookie mistakes, where you asked dumb questions from GMs and you said an answer with a straight face and they believed you? Anything like that?
No, I don't really have a ton of memories of my first season that just stand out. Well, not good ones anyway. I mean, we'll just stick to the positive ones. Yeah, no, I wasn't going to say anything.
Okay.
I wasn't going to say anything about a staff or working too hard or anything like that. It's just that we had a G.O pass away that particular season. So that is really the only major thing that stuck out in my mind. I remember a kind of a funny story about you from I think 2000 or maybe 99.
Oh, when we were both in Columbus, 99, 2000.
Yeah, we're both in Columbus together. You want me to tell that one?
Yes, because you recently jogged my memory. I had forgotten this story, but I love the way you tell it. So yeah, if you could, please.
Well, we were as you do from time to time. There's the Riding Rock bar, inn and bar. There's a marina there as well. That's fairly close to the club. You have to kind of back then in 99, 2000, you literally had to walk across the runway to get there, the runway for the international airport of San Salvador.
And there were no lights. No
lights.
And, it must have been Wednesday night, because Wednesday night was reggae night, correct?
It was I think it was a Wednesday night. Yeah. And we were going over there. It was you, myself, and a young lady that we were both competing for her attention.
I guess we'll say her first name. Yeah, it was Sabrina. We'll say her first
Sabrina,
name.
Yeah. So Sabrina had just gotten to Columbus Isle. She was a new sailing G.O, and you and I are both competing for her attention. And we decided to go to the riding rock, the three of us. And on the way back, you have to kind of cut across this. Anyone who's listening to this, who's ever been to Columbus Isle, knows exactly what I'm talking about. But you cut across this like sort of weed field that's got the foot effers, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, those stickers, right? The burrs.
Yeah, the burrs that jam into your foot, and they're barbed, and it hurts so much more to take them out than it does when they go in. But we were walking across that field, and there's a gap in the trees, and you can kind of climb over the chain link fence that separates Club Med from the rest of the world. We were climbing over, and I was maybe overserved a little bit at the riding rock and got to the top of the fence and just bailed headfirst off the other side, accidentally, not on purpose, and slammed into the ground headfirst. So about a 6-foot drop. And you and Sabrina come scrambling over the fence, and all of a sudden Sabrina goes into nightingale mode, like she's trying to take care of me. Oh, is your head okay? And so immediately I sense an opportunity here. So I think I convinced Sabrina that I needed constant monitoring through the night, because I might have a serious concussion, and I couldn't be allowed to go to sleep. And I had to be monitored, and I believe she bought it. Nothing ever happened, and ultimately, Greg, you won.
I just want to say though, I know you didn't do it on purpose, but at the time, I think I recall thinking you were brilliant, because that hadn't occurred to me at all. You had like pulled this thing out of your butt, and like, oh my God, this is like next level stuff. So I remember being in awe, and probably like, good on you. Like that's, I never would have thought of that. Well, hurting myself to, gain an advantage.
I didn't do it on purpose. The fall was accidental. Okay. It was only after the fall that I sensed the opportunity that had been handed me. That's all.
Yes, because you were over. I like how you put it. You were overserved. You were overserved at the riding rock. Okay.
Well, you remember those rum and cokes, right?
Oh God! Yeah.
Basically, anywhere outside of the Club Med in the Bahamas, if you ask for rum and coke, you get one of those red Solo cups filled with crushed ice, and then they pour like 4/5 of the rest of the glass is rum, and you get a splash of Coke on top for color.
Exactly.
And they charge you $5 for it, and you're hammered after 2 of them.
Yep. Oh yeah. That's taking me back now. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Now, with the reason though we hopped the fence, not only was it a shortcut, but were we technically allowed leaving, or if we had to be back at a certain time, since we weren't back at a certain time? Is that why or was it just because it was a shortcut? We hopped the fence.
No, I think back in those days, in like the early 2000s, 90s, we still weren't allowed to, like, I don't think we had days off yet, did we?
Well, they would have just started like in 99, so 99, 2000. Yeah,
but it was like a day off a month, or a day off every 2 weeks, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, there's not a chance that all of us were free and clear to go to the riding rock out of the three of us. I'm guessing that one or more, or maybe even all of us, were going AWOL a little bit.
Okay. That's right.
Which back then you had to do. Otherwise you never got to do anything. Like, you had to kind of pick your spots. And I think they even kind of let it go to a certain extent.
Yeah. Because as you know, Columbus, you have one road. The only stop sign is at the foot of the runway. Then that's for cars to stop for the plane landing, not for anything else. So
yeah, exactly.
Beautiful island. Okay. Now, about how many years overall did you spend in Club Med?
From start to finish, it was 97 to 2007. So, I mean, I attempted to come back to the real world, I think on 3 different occasions. The last one in 2007 being the successful one, but 2 other times I tried to come back to the real world and spent like a winter or half a winter and said, screw this, and picked up the phone. As you know, Greg, it was so hard to go, like, after you've done it, after you've been to Club Med for a couple seasons and you know that as long as you're in good standing, you're a phone call away from being able to go back. It is tough to stick out a Canadian winter. It really is.
It is. I always say if we grew up in Hawaii or California or Florida, we probably wouldn't have stayed so long at all. But man, those Canadian winters.
I'd get to about February, maybe halfway through February. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go back.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you did also work at Turks and Caicos, where I had my first season. You, as a scuba instructor, do you have any JoJo stories?
Tons of JoJo. I hated JoJo. I couldn't stand that. That
fish,
mammal,
dolphin.
Yeah.
Mammal, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no, JoJo liked to pick on my divers, and it created some kind of dangerous situations for me a couple times. So I didn't appreciate how friendly and nutty that dolphin was. Totally ruined one of my open water classes, actually one of my open water dives, and almost I had to chase one of my students to the surface from about 35 feet. It was bad. So I didn't like JoJo.
Because people panic like when you first see a dolphin, and
I don't think anybody realizes just how huge they are.
Yes.
Like everybody thinks that like dolphins are these smiley little 3 foot long animals, but no, like that he's like 10 feet long and he's all muscle and he's massive. Yeah. He's huge.
And dolphins are cute, but my first encounter, I went deliberately towards him. Like he was following the snorkeling boat back from the picnic. And I heard that. So I went out towards the wake of the boat, and he stopped dead and went vertical. So, and he's just smiling at me, but he stopped dead in the water. So now he's looking a bit sinister. The girl I was snorkeling with got really scared, and she went behind me, but started pushing me into him. And then I started freaking out. And he was just like waiting for me with his fins. Just, that's it, a bit closer, human. So yes, even though they're cute, but when you're really face to face the first time, he's pretty imposing. So I guess you had some divers that would naturally freak out, right? I mean,
well, they were all pretty cool, but he actually knocked a regulator out of a girl's mouth, and
then she panicked, right?
Yeah, and she lost it, and so it ruined my dive.
Okay, wow, all right.
But I mean, and I did have friendly encounters with JoJo too. I was just always wary of that stupid animal.
Yeah. I think he's still there too.
He won't die. He's probably the oldest dolphin in the Turks and Caicos.
It's true. He's got his share of scars, I hear now, but he's still alive and kicking.
Yeah, and they say dolphins are smart animals. Like, do you know why he's got all those scars? He keeps on running into boat propellers.
That's right. Yeah. I'll show you. Okay. Were there any in your Club Med career? Were there any like chief of villages you clicked with more than others, like the most? Do you have a favorite? Is that okay to ask you?
No, that's fine. CDVs, I guess I have a tie for the top.
Okay.
I guess my favorite chief of village is a tie between Handel Duplessis and Philippe Fournier, who we both worked for in Columbus, I believe.
Yes. Now, speaking about Philippe Fournier, did you find, like, that was my third time at Columbus, but I found more than a lot of seasons that there was so much talent on that particular season, and a lot of those people went on to become chief of villages. So I thought that team was pretty well stacked. Did you find that at all? Like when you were
there? It was that was a really good team. You're right. It was solid. I was probably a black sheep actually on that team.
You were? Why?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. No, I think that whole sports team gelled, I believe.
No, it was a good sports team for sure.
Yeah. No, I had a great time there. And then from there,
they used to give you rankings back then.
You had the feedback. It was based on the feedback. Yes, the GMs would get a card or a couple of sheets of paper to fill out, and then that's how you were ranked. Yes. Yeah,
and we always had really top high ranks. I remember we'd go to G.O meetings, and those were always at midnight too. But go to the G.O meeting, and they give you your rankings like sports team, this blah blah blah. I don't remember. I think we were ranked pretty highly back then.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. That was very, very talented team, I thought, for sure. Now when after that 99-2000 season, where did you go?
After 99-2000, I went to Turks.
Now rattle
that
off.
That was the first that would have been my first season in Turks.
Once you rattle off the other villages where you worked.
Turks, Cancun when they had scuba, Columbus Isle. I did a short little stint in Paradise Island, Sonora Bay. And I did one season in Ixtapa, but it wasn't as a Scuba G.O. I was a lifeguard. And then I switched over to excursions, but I went to Ixtapa chasing my girlfriend at the time, who was a circus G.O.
Okay. I was going to ask, yeah, that's the only reason a Scuba G.O. would just suddenly change jobs, right? And especially scuba to excursions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also, and I shouldn't have left him off my high list of chief of villages. We were also going there with Joey Templin, who we had both worked with in Turquoise, and he's also right up there with one of my favorite CDVs of all time.
Is he from Australia?
Yeah. Okay, he's Australian. Yeah,
I've heard of him. Yes. Okay. Wow. Good stuff. Now, Sonora Bay, did you enjoy diving with the seals?
I love Sonora Bay. I thought Sonora Bay was some of the best diving in Club. Like Columbus Isle, number one. Number two would be Sonora. I would put Sonora ahead of Turquoise for diving.
Well, it is something. I had the luck to do dives there. So yeah, I really enjoyed when your first time with seals too. It's kind of scary too, right? When they're so fast coming right at you, and then they turn on a dime. And
yeah. Once you get used to them, they're awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't get too close to the big males though.
Man, yeah. You can hear when they hit the water, right? Oh, the scuba boat's here. Kaboosh.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of the best dives I've ever had, was with that, because even when the boat pulls up, they get all excited. They're peeking their heads into the boat, waiting for you to come in the water, and then munching on your snorkel.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the diving in Sonora Bay. Totally different than the Atlantic Caribbean diving that we had in Columbus and Turquoise. No real coral reef. It's all rocks and seaweed and that kind of. It's a little murkier and much colder, but big animals, whales. I saw whales, tons of dolphins, huge sharks. It was a great diving.
And all your seasons as a scuba instructor. Now, when my first season in Turks, the scuba team would pull pranks on each other. Did you guys pull any good-natured pranks on each other, like in the water?
In the water, we tended to. We used to do it from time to time, but you didn't want to. Like, if you're responsible for swimming around with six people, you don't want to go ripping the dude's regulator out or pulling his mask off.
Oh no! Well, I'll give you an example. No, I'll give you an example. In Turks, you have these durgeons, these black durgeon fish in the water, which are like piranha. So the guys would put an old piece of pizza in the BC.
Oh yeah.
And then hit the water, and then I mean like that, not swimming with your regular. Did you do any pranks like that at all? Or?
Oh yeah, we used to do that. Okay. Sticks and bread in the tank mesh.
Okay.
And you'd have those yellowtail jacks just hammering on the top of this guy's tank.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to do stuff like that all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know that's still happening. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. Did you meet any celebrities at all during your time in Club Med?
Yeah, I didn't dive with her. I was dive master on Jennifer Lopez's dive boat. She came to Columbus Isle in 97.
That's right. Summer. I remember that story. I can't believe spent 2.5 years there. And I just missed when Jennifer Lopez, because I think she was on her honeymoon. She had just gotten married, and I can't believe I missed this. Oh God.
Yeah. She was there on her honeymoon, and she wasn't yet Jennifer Lopez.
But still she had done Selena, and I love the movie Selena, and she's gorgeous. And
but she wasn't like J-Lo from the block yet. So
no, she wasn't. Yeah, she just skyrocketed. I always wanted to meet her. She's wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty sure I was dive master on a dive boat on a boat that she went out on, and she had it to herself. Like, she was enough of a celebrity that she had the boat to herself for an afternoon, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then also in Columbus, partied with Mark Messier on Canada Day. That was awesome.
Oh, are you serious?
Weren't you there for that? No, that was my 97 season.
We met, and we both caught a touchdown by Bobby Hebert. If you recall, Bobby Hebert came to the village, the quarterback. And I asked, no one wanted to ask him. So I asked him, I had to ask an NFL quarterback if he wanted to play beach football with a couple of dudes, and he agreed. Remember, I had to get him in the gym, because he said, if I forget, come get me. We get him. He takes off his sweats, and he's wearing his NFL pants underneath his sweatpants. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He brought him with him. And we're like, oh God. And you and I each caught a touchdown in the end zone by Bobby Hebert. So
yes, I do remember that. Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So 97, and that must have been 97. We partied with Mark Messier. We actually I stole an Econom golf cart to drive him back to the Riding Rock Marina where his boat was at the end of the night. So,
did he come by boat?
Yeah, he was there with his dad and his brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, at the Riding Rock, and they had just come over to Club Med on a dinner pass or a night pass, I guess, and it was Canada Day. So I do remember he asked me, he's like, you guys are, because he saw us paying for drinks with drink tickets, right? He's like, are you guys paying for your drinks? We're like, yeah. If they let us have free drinks, it'd be mayhem. He said, well, okay, where do you get these drink tickets? And I said, you get them at reception. So he says, show me. So I take him to the reception in Columbus, and Mark Messier says, I'd like to get some drink tickets. And she says, okay, so how many? He's like, how many you got back there? And she pulls out Terry Ann. I remember she pulled out this big box filled, like there must have been, $1,500 worth of drink tickets in there. And he said, okay, that'll do. I'll take them all. Oh.
Wait, what year is this, Jay?
This is in 97.
Okay, no, I wasn't there. Damn it. Oh,
yeah. Jay. So he bought all the bar tickets, gave his credit card to the receptionist, and we went back to the bar. And then he found the chief of bar, and he said, listen, I don't want any GOs to pay for any drinks tonight. And he slammed down this box full of full bar books on the bar. And yeah, we all drank for free the rest of the night.
Oh man, what a class act, huh?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh man, J-Lo and Mark Messier.
Yeah. And then, well, as you know, anyone who's ever been to Turquoise in the 2000s hung out with Glenn Anderson.
Yes, yeah, him I did meet. Yeah, I met him in '94. Yeah, we got to play hockey with him there too.
Yeah, I played road hockey with Glenn Anderson a few times, especially when he was a good friend of Hendel Duplessis. So when Hendel was chief there when I was there, Glenn Anderson was there almost every night.
He played for the New York Islanders, I recall. Is that right? Is that the team that he was on?
Oilers. Glenn Anderson was the Oilers.
Oh, the Oilers. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, he was part of that. He was with Mess and Gretzky and those guys. But and then I guess I was in Columbus when Justin Trudeau was there.
What was this? This had to have been, what year was this?
This was 2000. Maybe 2004, 2005.
Okay, so you were now.
He was there on his honeymoon with Sophie.
So he's currently the sitting Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, and he was, I guess was he in politics back then? Maybe.
No, I think he was just his dad's son back then.
Okay,
drama teacher, I believe.
Yeah, he went to McGill with a friend of mine, and then I know he became, believe it or not, only in Canada can someone like Justin Trudeau be Prime Minister be a bouncer at a bar in Whistler.
Yeah, I know. I heard he was a bouncer at a bar.
He's a prettiest good-looking guy you'll ever meet. Nothing about him says bouncer, but he actually was a bouncer. And I don't know if you've seen the video. He could actually throw himself down the stairs like a stuntman and not get hurt. Have you seen this video online?
No,
it's crazy. He would do it for anyone at a drop of a hat. Some reporter was there and he went, "Here, look, I'll show you." And he just went. So that's pretty cool, man. All right. Wow, you met some interesting people. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's it for celebrities, though.
Okay.
I'm sure there were a few more.
Well, there's always the ones that we don't know, right? Like from France, the French are freaking out, and we're like, oh, okay.
I distinctly remember there was a bunch of massive dudes hanging around the bar in Cancun when I was there, and I remember somebody saying they were O-linemen for the Dallas Cowboys. So there were always like athletes and celebrities, like minor celebrities and athletes kicking around Club Med, especially the Cancuns and the Turquoise type places.
Okay. You have any funny stories from any other seasons, like the one that you told at Columbus and the fence? Do you have any more like clean and appropriate ones you can tell?
Clean and appropriate.
I know. I know. I'm kind of hamstringing you here with the clean and appropriate, but that's okay. I like the one you told. So
yeah, I don't know if it's Club Med legend, and because this didn't happen to me, but you always hear the one about the little French lady that comes down to the snorkeling boat with 3 different empty glass jars. And
yes.
The dive master on the boat says, hang on. You can't bring glass onto the boat. If the glass breaks, everybody's barefoot. Like, no. She said, well, please, is there anything we can do? I just want to collect the 3 different colors of water. And the dive master says, what? I want you to drive out to the turquoise colored water over there. I'll get a jar of that. And then over there where the water is kind of green, I want some of that. And then if we could go further out where it's dark blue, and I could get some of that too. And the dive master just shakes his head. Now, I don't think that actually happened, but that's all Club Med lore. I've always heard that one.
Well, did you get any like dumb questions yourself from GMs?
I think the dumbest one I ever got was, do you guys all live here on the island?
Okay.
And that was at Columbus, and it was at dinner time. And of course, and you shouldn't do it but I was always a bit of a smart ass. So I said, no, we commute in from Miami.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that was the dumbest question I ever got was, do you guys all live here on the island?
Okay. Man, was there ever, this is just a new question I'm introducing, and all your seasons did you have a favorite like animation passage that an animator did that you recall, like that, that you laughed or you thought was good? Anything like that? It's okay if you don't remember, but
I don't. Yeah, I remember loving those guys, like the animators.
Yeah.
Salvatore was one of my favorite dudes. He was the animator in Sonora, but I think he was a sports G.O elsewhere too.
Okay.
But he'd always be walking around with the back half of his pants gone, or flicking people in the ear with a little piece of straw. That stuff. I love that. That stuff was awesome. I could watch that stuff all day.
Did you ever, even though scuba took up much of your time, were you able to learn any new skills while you were there? Like any new sport you always wanted to try, like water ski?
Oh, for sure. I learned to windsurf at Club Med. I learned how to play tennis at Club Med.
Okay. Now, did you have to get rescued your first time windsurfing? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, several times.
Okay.
Yeah. No, in fact, I was once banned from going windsurfing. That was at Columbus. I was told I could not go windsurfing anymore. Until I took like more lessons. Somebody had to teach me some stuff. To go out on a windsurf board by myself, they wouldn't let me do it anymore.
You're okay to go out. It takes 3 minutes to go out, 3 weeks to come back. That's how
exactly. Yeah.
How long it takes to learn to come back.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were banned. All right.
Yeah. I did get better. I learned to wakeboard at Club Med. That was in Cancun.
On the lagoon there. Yeah. Yeah. Nice and flat there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess water centric, but I did learn to do other things.
Yeah, so you were under the water and on top of the water.
Yeah.
Now
horseback riding. I went.
Sonora.
Yeah, horseback riding.
They have a nice, beautiful trail there.
I missed kite surfing. I wish I had been around for kite surfing, but that came in just as I left.
It is easier to learn, but the danger or difficult. Oh boy, yeah, like this thing is like 3 stories above you, right? So
yeah,
it's easier to get hurt, but it is easier to learn, I'd say. But yeah, well, summer's coming up, right?
Yeah,
all you need is wind.
That's right.
Okay, let me ask you this question. It might be a difficult question, but of all your seasons, I like to use the word magical. Do you find that one was magical? Was it your first season? Did you find your first season magical at all, or were they all special in their own way?
No, I think that year and a half period where you and I worked together, because I think I was there from 99 to, I was there 3 seasons, like back to back to back. I think for a year and a half, I don't even think I left the island. Like I was there for like 3 straight. I left the island. I went on vacation to Turks and then came right back. Like that was it. I didn't even go back to Canada during that stretch, but that year and a half from 99 to like the back half of 2000 was probably, my favorite. All
right, cool. Now, Jay, before I let you go, am I forgetting to ask you something, or is there anything you want to say, like any other GOs that you worked with, you admired, or, did you want to thank anyone, whatever it is, like I don't want to let you go because it was so nice talking to you without me forgetting to ask you something, or there's something that you wanted to say, or like type of thing where if I told you like there was someone listening to this and they were thinking about applying to Club Med and they were on the fence about it, should they apply?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think we covered everything, but yeah, if somebody's listening to this and is thinking about applying to Club Med, I mean, I'm not sure what Club Med is like now compared to what it was like working for Club Med back in our day, but it can't be too much different. It's a great experience. I mean, I believe I told you this, and maybe you said you were the same thing. Like I intended to do 1 or 2 seasons at Club Med. Like I was going to be like maybe 1 year just to have some more fun and then go back to Canada, and ended up spending 10 years there. So
yeah, same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had full, every intention. Yeah. Of just doing 1 or 2 and stopping. But then, you get back, it's November, and then, I could,
exactly.
I could avoid winter right now if I just picked up the phone and
Yeah.
and that was it. And then, you know, I remember being so excited when because back then there were, I think, still plane tickets. So they would send like Pure Later or FedEx. I remember being like salivating like a Pavlovian dog whenever I saw a Pure Later truck in the neighborhood, because I thought they were dropping off my tickets. I don't know if you had that.
Oh yeah,
experience.
same thing.
Okay.
No, same thing. And they'd always send you that package before your plane tickets too. They told you, like, gave you sample weekly schedules and what the dress codes were going to be and blah, blah. That was always fun going through that.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to go shopping for white pants, which are
exactly.
That's impossible to find.
Exactly. Or when you get there, you find out you have a débarrassage. You have to put away the show at the pool in your white pants because it's elegant night, and then
yeah,
you've ripped them, or worse, dirtied them.
Yeah.
And now you don't have white pants for 6 months. Okay. Memories. Okay. Well, I really want to thank you for sharing your story with us, Jay. It's been awesome.
Oh, my pleasure, man. It was good to catch up.
You too, man. All right, everyone. That was Jay from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We will see you all next week. Bye. Say bye, Jay.
See you, buddy.